Hey there, future coach. So you're getting ready to start a coaching business. That's really exciting. And there's a lot of business coaches out there that will tell you
don't really need money to start your coaching business. It's okay. You can bootstrap.
But business coaches talk a lot of So what the do I think about that? In today's video, I'm going to tell you how much money do you need to start a coaching business. I'm Amy Walker, and I love business coaching, but I hate bad business advice. And this one is actually bad business advice. But the reason this one bugs me so much is it gives people a false idea that I should be able to generate money without feeding any money into the business. And I'm just gonna be really transparent with you. The business owners that I see that are putting no cash into their business, they continue to feel like a first-year business for years and years and years until I don't see them anymore. Because guess what? They gave up, they quit, they stopped coaching.
You can consider this my retirement.
So I'm actually really excited that you're here and that you're looking into starting this coaching business because I'm gonna be honest, I feel like we need more great coaches. And I love this industry and I want to welcome you to it. I also, though, want to make sure that you have a viable business plan to actually be successful. So in this video, I'm going to share with you where you can find the money to put into your coaching business, how bootstrapping actually works, what it is and what it isn't. We're also going to talk about what you do need to spend money on, and I'm going to give you my best budget-friendly options. And if you stay until the end, I'm going to tell you the things that you absolutely do not need to spend money on. So this video should save you a lot of cash if you stay with me through it all.
Yeah, women be shopping.
So bootstrapping does not mean business for free. That is not what it means. What it means is that you don't start off with investors or a big nest egg. It means that you're being scrappy with where you're finding the money. But let me be very clear, you are finding the money. So it's not about a cashless business model. It's about getting creative about where you're going to find those funds. Clear? Good. If we're clear, go ahead and push the like button because that is pretty darn critical. Now let's talk about where you can actually get that money from. One of the most common things is people fund it with their full-time job. And I know you'll hear, as you get into this coaching world, you'll hear people talking about if coaching is your side hustle, then you're not really committed, blah, 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 blah. Those people are not paying your mortgage payment, they're not paying your rent payment, they're not paying your car payment. So you get to choose what works best for you. And for a lot of people, continuing to have a full-time job while they build their business on the side and then transitioning where they decrease hours and increase hours into the business, that's a less stressful way for a lot of people. So that is definitely one strategy that you can use. Now, speaking as somebody who kind of jumped pretty fast from my job that I had into my business, you can also do it the other way, but you do still have to be able to get the cash coming in. Another thing that you can do is you can utilize your personal credit. You can use personal credit to acquire cards and to acquire lines of credit that you only use for business. And that because of that, you can still write all of the interest off on your business taxes, even if it's not actually an SBA loan. The next thing that you can do is you can look for investors. If you bring on investors from the very, very beginning, you also give up control pretty quickly. I personally don't like to give up control. I like to have control. And so for me, I wouldn't personally bring on investors really early on in the game. I would wait until things are pretty established and we've got some traction, and then we're looking to bring on investors to help scale, but that's just my personal thing. Family and friends are usually the first round of crowdfunding for most people's businesses. So maybe you have a grandma or some auntie somewhere, or you just have people who love you and are willing to invest in what you're doing. That is honestly where most people get their startup money. So that's an option for you as well. Now, number 6 is what I actually did. So I took on some gigs. And what that meant was I worked with some people on some projects that they weren't the ideal for what I ultimately wanted to do, but I had the contacts and the connections to be able to get those gigs pretty quickly, which then created some initial cash flow. And then I got busy selling. And so from day one, before I had the website set up, before anything was really ready, I started selling my services. So my sales and my gigs were really the things that funded my transition into entrepreneurship. So next up, I want to tell you what business expenses you need, but don't leave at the end of that because it's really important. You need to know what you really don't need so you can just save yourself that money. First essential thing that you do need to spend money on is getting your business actually set up. So that means getting your business entity, getting your business name, getting your domain. Even if you're not building a website yet and you don't need the domain, you don't want to have a business that you can never build a website. So you need to buy the domain name at least from the very beginning. So there are going to be some just initial setup costs in order to get your business legal. Do that. You don't want to be doing business without being official. The next thing that I do recommend is that you get some sort of a CRM. Now, I use a couple of systems to run my business. One is Pipedrive and one is Infusionsoft by Keep. Those are two products that I use and they're invaluable to my business. But if I was starting from scratch today, the program that I would actually use is called MailerLite. You need a central database where you can connect with your people, gather them all together, keep track of what you're communicating with them, and be able to do some basic product sales. I would start with MailerLite and have that be your first CRM because you can get it for free. And then from there, you can upgrade as your needs expand. The next thing that you are going to need to spend on is your marketing. Social media, doing social media does not a marketing plan make. So you are going to need to invest, and your marketing cost should be somewhere between, I would say as a new business owner, as a new coach, I would say somewhere between 10 and 15% of total revenues. So maybe it's your first month in business and maybe you did $2,000 in revenues. You're going to want to spend $200 on marketing at least. What you want to be spending on is lead generation, lead generation, lead generation. This is not the time to pay for the TV spot on your local morning TV. That doesn't produce sales. And what you need right now is sales. So things that you would want to spend on, maybe joining a BNI group, maybe having a vendor booth at an expo, pay to play speaking opportunities. Those can convert really well. Maybe just travel to get to industry conferences or speaking events. But you do want to be putting money into your marketing from day one because you need to be feeding the business. And I recommend focusing on things that are what I call quick conversion, meaning I can get leads and I can convert leads in the first 90 days. Some of the things that are really common you see people doing for marketing in the coaching industry are in reality power builds. That means it's going to take a while, like a year, maybe 2 years before there's enough momentum behind it till it's really creating sales for you. So a couple of examples of power builds. YouTube, it's an example of a power build. It can be extremely powerful for finding clients, but it's going to take you time to build up your following. I would put Instagram in there too, like building a massive Instagram following. That's going to take some time. Building a Facebook group, that's going to take some time. It doesn't mean that they're not worth doing. They absolutely are, but it means that you need to partner them with some marketing opportunities that are going to bring you leads really quickly. Okay, so I know some of you are asking the question, but Amy, I'm just starting. I don't even have revenue yet. So what is 10 to 15% of nothing? And how do I get the money to put into marketing? So what I would do, and this is what I work on with my clients, we actually put together a full-scale marketing program and we maximize the free lead generation opportunities. Here's a great example. Doing a joint venture training, finding some other expert or experts to come together. You produce the training together, they promote it to their email list, you promote it to your email list, which isn't very much. You can use LinkedIn events to get more visibility. So there are some scrappy free strategies. You might not know what they are yet, but they are out there. And this is where you're going to educate yourself on understanding marketing, which leads so perfectly into number 4. This is actually the place that I spent the most on as a new business owner, and I will never regret it. It was my education. So as a brand new business owner, I signed up. In fact, the day I decided to start my business, I signed up for a $25,000 year-long coaching program, and it about made me pee my pants. Like, I was so scared and nervous. But here's why I did it, and here's why I know this is the most powerful place to invest in. I needed to know how to run a company. When I started, I was good at sales and I was good at coaching. and I was good at speaking. But that was it. Those were my 3 skills. I actually didn't really know anything about marketing. I'd never been responsible for marketing before, so I had a lot to learn in that area. I didn't know anything about hiring. I had always worked and done sales and coaching inside of somebody else's system, but I'd never done it on my own. So I didn't know anything about that. There was a lot of things with the legalities and how to build systems. There was a ton of stuff I did not know. And I remember telling my husband, like, I know I can do this if I know how to do this. And I am a good student. Like, I will study my butt off. I will implement everything that they tell me how to do. And I just need you to have a little bit of belief in me that I can pull through. And so I jumped in, and at the end of that year, I had paid off my $25,000 and we had done $112,000 in sales. So it was absolutely worth it. And I used that stuff that I learned 9 years ago, I'm still using in my business today. Now, have I added to that knowledge base? Absolutely. Every year I'm learning more. But my business education was the foundation for the 6-figure business the first year. And I guarantee you, if I had not done that program, I know I would not have had a 6-figure year right out of the gate. My free marketing always outperforms my paid marketing. I teach my clients how to do that. So my clients are also out there generating free leads every single month and converting those into sales. I have a client who just did their first 6-figure month, and they did not have a marketing budget. They didn't pay out for those leads. They were using scrappy strategies. You can do that too, but you need to learn how. All right, next thing, I don't want you to look like a schmucko. Like, it doesn't have to be looking like you're $1 million brand, because guess what? You're not. But I do want you to look okay. And in coaching, you are really your brand. It is a representation of you. So my last 2 things, I want you to get professional headshots. Not your friend taking the pictures on the iPhone while you're wearing a nice outfit. Like, I really do want you to have professional headshots, because it will limit your opportunities. One of the best things you can do as a coach is get speaking and doing webinars and collaborations. And when I see someone that comes to me without a professional headshot, I disqualify them from collaborating with us, because I assume that if they don't have professional headshots, that they don't have a list and they're new to marketing and they're inexperienced, and so they're not going to be a good partner. And I'm telling you, I'm not the only one who thinks this way. So you are going to need to get professional headshots. Now, that can cost anywhere between like $299 up to $1,000. I don't think you need $1,000 headshots, but you do need some professional ones. And the last thing is going to be your logo and your brand and colors. This is not the time to go out and pay the $10,000 branding expert who's going to make you look like a rock star. The reality is, in order to do branding, there's a lot of foundational work that you have to have in place, and you really have to have dialed in your message and also who your ideal client is. And as a brand new coach, you don't know enough about that. So if you brand now, you will probably outgrow that brand too soon. And I made that mistake in my first year of business. When I first launched, my first brand was Amy Walker, balancing business and family. And I was working with moms who wanted to build their business. I am too intense for them. And they were too uncommitted for me. Like, there was a lot of people who just wanted to dabble, and they just wanted to, like, they're happy making $500 a month. It doesn't make sense to buy high-end coaching programs if you just want to make $500 a month. We were a mismatch. So what I realized is I really love working with committed entrepreneurs and small business owners who are also dedicated to their families. So I had to totally rebrand, and that happens often. So what I recommend is that you go either to Fiverr or to somewhere like 99 Designs and get your first logo. Make sure it looks good. You don't want to look bad, or you don't want to look like a schmucko. And pick out your branding colors, pick out your fonts that you're going to use, so that everything that you create is going to look on brand and you are going to look professional. Now, before we wrap, I promised I was going to tell you some things that you do not need to spend money on. Here are 3 things that you just don't need as a new coach. You don't need a website yet. You can build your landing pages and for any marketing campaign that you need inside of your CRM. You don't need a professional branding kit. Is not the time for that. You also don't need yet paid ads. And the reason for that is because you have not yet proven your sales process. So if you start running ads right now and the sales process doesn't work, you're just gonna waste a lot of money. Get your sales process working first and then run ads to it. So there you go. You're going to save some money in those areas so that you can spend on the things that you really do need. So now you know how much does it cost to start a coaching business. The next video that I want you to go watch is 10 steps to successful goal setting. Thanks so much for being here today. I'm Amy Walker, debunking all of the bad business coaching advice that's out there so that you know what you need to do to successfully build your business. Make sure you come back again really soon.